Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel Islam is Science. I seek refuge with Allah from Shaitan the accursed. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Today we are going to discuss what Quran reveals the mystical secrets of water. I have divided this topic into two parts. In the first part, we will discuss few points. Let us see why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing water with utmost care. Water, an agent that is performing an action. As we all know, water is very important for the survival of every living entity on this earth. Let us find out the significance of water based on Quran and various studies. To begin with, let us go to Quran. Chapter 2 verse 22, who has made the earth a resting place for you, and the sky as a canopy, and sent down water from the sky, and brought forth therewith the fruits as provision for you. Again on chapter 27 verse 61, is not he who has made the earth as a fixed abode and a place and placed rivers in its midst. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it very clear that earth is a home planet, a house, a resting place for all living creatures including humans, in which it consists of water for survival and placed oceans and rivers in it, with which plants, trees and fruits grow. Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say earth is the only place. There could be other places also. Let us see what scientists have to say about this. Okay, the scientific study based on NASA, it states our home planet is the third planet from the sun and the only place we know so far that's inhabited by living things. It is the only world in our solar system with liquid water on the surface. Hence, it proves that these verses are absolutely correct. Let us see the other verses of Quran. Quran chapter 16 verse 65, and Allah sends down water from the sky, then he revives the earth therewith after its death. Verily, in this is a sign for people who listen. Again in chapter 2 verse 164, and the water which Allah sends down from the sky and makes the earth alive therewith after its death, and the moving creatures of all kinds that he has scattered therein, and in the veering of the winds and clouds which are held between the sky and the earth, and indeed are ayatin, that means these are the proofs, evidences and signs for people of understanding. Again in chapter 16 verse 14, and he it is who has subjected the sea for you, that you eat thereof fresh tender meat, and that you bring forth out of its ornaments to wear. So based on all the above verses, it is very clear the clouds are forming, wearing of the winds and water is happening, water has been sent down from the sky onto the earth, thereby it revives the earth. Water flows into rivers and to seas and oceans. Basically, this is nothing but water cycle that helps life cycle of living creatures on earth. Let us see what scientists have come up with. So the scientific research done by NOAA supports this theory. Hence it states liquid water evaporates into water vapor, condenses to form clouds, and precipitates back to earth in the form of rain and snow. This is really important to understand the last portion of the verse that states these are indeed ayatin, that means these are the proofs, these are the evidences and signs for the people of understanding. The question is, who are these people? The answer is those who use their intellect, who states reasoning, have senses and are wise, who understand stuff, those who do observations and do research and find out the logic behind everything. So now going to the next verses from Quran and see what it states regarding water. Go to chapter 51 verse 2 to 4. And the clouds or fogs or asteroids etc. that bear heavy weight of water, and the particles, molecules, ships etc. that float with ease and gentleness, and those asteroids, comets, foreign material, angels etc. who distribute provisions, rain and other blessings by Allah's command. This is really interesting to know. If you realize these verses or analyze these verses very carefully, there are two phases associated with the same verses. In the first phase, these verses addresses activities happening in global formation or formation of the universe, That states that these asteroids, comets, they carry or carried or bear the heavy weight of water. They float with great ease, gentleness, and distributed water and other blessings to selected planets by Allah's command. In the second phase, these verses addresses the activities happening on earth and states that those clouds, they carry or bear the heavy weight of water, they float with great ease, gentleness, and distribute water to selected parts of the earth by Allah's command. Let us see what scientists have to say about this. So the scientific study based on NASA, it states although the solar system formed nearly 4.6 billion years ago, researchers have a pretty good record that goes back to 3.9 billion years. Yet those first 700 million years proved critical to all that followed. That's when the planets, coalescent, and water and other components essential to life were delivered to the inner planets. So looking at the NASA's research regarding solar system or the Big Bang theory and comparing that to our verses, the research work proves that these verses are correct in all the steps as mentioned in Quran. It clearly states water was not native to earth before its formation. It was delivered to earth when earth was hot mass of dirt at that time frame. Let us see the verses of the Quran. Chapter 13 verse 17, he sends down water from the sky and the valleys flow according to their measure. Again, chapter 14 verse 32, Allah is he who has created the heavens and the earth and sends down water from the sky and thereby brought forth fruits as provision for you. He has made the ships to be of service to you that they may sail through the sea by his command, and he has made rivers to be of service to you. Now again, chapter 15 verse 22, and we send the winds fertilizing. That is, it is filled with the clouds and water. Then cause the water to descend from the sky, and we gave it to you to drink. And it is not you who are the owners of its store. Again in chapter 25 verse 48, and it is he who sends the winds as heralds of glad tidings, going before his mercy, and we send down pure water from the sky. So let us see what the scientific study have come up with. So USGS study states about 71% of the Earth's surface is water covered and holds about 96.5% of all Earth's water. Water also exists in the earth as water vapor, in rivers and lakes, in ice caps and glaciers. Water is never sitting still thanks to the water cycle. Our planet was supplies constantly moving from one place to another and from one form to another. Things would get pretty stale without the water cycle. So remember, water also acts as a fertilizing agent. So the USGS study clearly proves that the verses mentioned in Quran are correct. To further understand the extreme importance of water cycle that helps life cycle, see the Serengeti and other desert documentaries. Let us go to the other verses of Quran and see what they state regarding water. Quran chapter 21 verse 30, and we have made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? Again in chapter 24 verse 45, Allah has created every moving living creature from water. Of them, there are some that creep on their bellies, some that walk on two legs, and some that walk on four. So Allah creates what He wills. Verily, Allah is able to do all things. Again in chapter 25 verse 54, and it is He who has created man from water and has appointed for him kindred by blood and kindred by marriage. And your Lord is ever all powerful to do what He wills. Let us see what USGS study has come up with. Water is indeed essential for all life on, in, and above the earth. This is important to you because you're made up mostly of water. Water is of major importance to all living things. In some organisms, up to 90% of their body weight comes from water. Water is a vital nutrient to the life of every cell. Its essential function is it acts first as a building material. Again, go to the British Society for Cell Biology, that is called BSCB study. It states that water is the single most abundant chemical found in living things. Virtually all chemical reaction in life processes takes place in solution of water. Some organisms can live in a dormant and desiccated state for a long period of time but require water to become active. Water is present both inside and outside cells. Water is not only essential for all life on, in, and above the earth, but it is major important for the survival of all living creatures. Apart from that, it is stated that we are mostly made up of water. Its first essential function is it acts as a building material. So USGS study and BSEB study clearly proves that the verses mentioned in the Quran are absolutely true and correct. I hope this insight was very useful. See you in the next episode. Please do not forget to subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon. And at the close, my request is all the praise and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of the universe.